So a couple of my friends, we got together for lunch. We went to some fancy restaurant, and then I think we met at some mall, and they were shopping and buying all these nice clothes. I think after that we had coffee or something, and I said, okay, hold on a minute. How are you guys affording this lifestyle? They said, oh, we're in outside sales. And I said, I don't know what that means. What does that mean? We go out there and we get accounts. And I said, well, I want to do that too.
Well, I love the San Gabriel Valley.
Welcome to the My SGV podcast.
So I grew up here and I still live in Alhambra.
I was raised in between Temple City and Alhambra.
Eventually resided in South San Gabriel.
Our mission is to capture and share the stories of the people of the San Gabriel Valley.
Monterey Park has pretty much been my whole life.
Well, I'm proud to say that I was born and raised in the San Gabriel Valley.
We believe our diversity is what makes the SGV great. And no matter where you are from, in the San Gabriel Valley, you will feel welcome. All right, SGVers, welcome back to another episode of the My SGV podcast. Thank you for tuning in and spending this time with us. If you're new here, we bring you the stories of the people of the San Gabriel Valley. And if you are a returning listener, thank you so much for spending this time with us. I very much do appreciate it. Well, Michelle, when we first connected on Zoom, I was like, oh, you know all these people. And the crazy one is that you knew my brother.
I know your brothers.
Our brothers.
Yeah, I have a twin sister, and she dated him all through high school.
Okay.
So he's a great guy, and his brother is all you got. Yeah, you guys are a great family.
You know, I haven't seen Carrie, probably since I was 5 or 6, and I don't think that he has any memory of me. Kevin, I saw one time in Vegas in my late 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I haven't seen him since.
I haven't seen Kevin for a long time, but this is really weird. I was in Hawaii. My son went to the University of Hawaii, and this is during COVID. So everything was all crazy. And remember that time you couldn't get a rental car? Do you remember that?
Oh, yes, I remember that,
okay,
yeah.
And people had to rent U-Hauls just to get a car. So we were there only for 4 days. UH had a special graduation to get your diploma leave. So we go there. So I'm sitting at the rental car place, and we're waiting on this bench outside. We're just waiting, and we've been there for like 45 minutes because there's no cars. So this guy runs up to me, and my son goes, "Do you know that guy?" I go, "No." And it was Carrie. And he just happened to be returning a car. And he came on, hey, he's like, I got to go, my flight's leaving. I said, okay. And that's the last time I saw him. That was got to be 4 years ago.
Yeah. Wow. Small world. Well, I'm glad that we connected. I'm anxious to get into your story. So before that, thank you to Paris Baguette for sponsoring the show with their delicious pastries. I go there before the show every time, and I have to resist stealing a few on the drive here. So thank you to them. Go check them out in the city of San Gabriel on Las Tunas, and say hi to Jason and Joanna for us. She was raised in Monterey Park and Montebello, where community meant everything and hustle was a family tradition. From Robert Hill Lane to Schurr High School, her SGV roots run deep, and even after a short move to Chino Hills, she came right back so her kids could grow up grounded, connected, and proud. She's been the ultimate school mom at Brightwood, a community builder at Mark Keppel, and the force behind the Jets and Jets basketball organization, growing it from 8 to over 20 teams in just 2 years. She helped launch a dental lab, built a career in real estate, and now guides families through the emotional moments of buying or selling a home, always with heart, clarity, and that unmistakable East LA grit. Welcome to the show, Michelle Shimohara. Michelle, welcome.
Well, thank you. It's an honor for me to be here. And who's really excited that I'm here?
Who is that?
My 3 kids.
Oh, really? Why is that? What did they say?
Yeah, because I was mentioning before that, because these little tidbit, they little videos come up on Instagram, because they're Instagram kids.
Yes.
And we were sitting there. I go, I'm going to be on that show, and they were like, what? So I hope that I don't embarrass them today. I'm going to try my best.
No, that's the whole goal. We're going to tell all the funny stories of them. Just kidding. But you're an Instagram mom too. I see you on social media.
Yeah. You have to be, nowadays.
Sure.
You have to be. So
what a difference, from growing up with no phones, right? Where you had to actually pick up a phone.
I know we were talking about that. I mean, my girlfriends went out. We were saying, remember those days where you had to memorize everybody's phone number, and then if you wanted to find out someone was home, you'd drive by. And if they were home, you go in.
Yeah.
And if, you just, okay. And we all knew where we lived. And when you call the house, the mom and dad answer the phone.
Mm-hmm.
And hi, Mr. So-and-so, is so-and-so home? May I speak to them, please? And that's how it was. We were talking about that.
And you remembered your number and probably your top 5 friends' number, maybe 10?
Yep.
You probably remember your old house number, right?
I remember it, yeah.
It's crazy. Well, Michelle, we're going to start with, what is your connection to the San Gabriel Valley?
Well, like I was saying, I'm a twin, and me and my sister were born...
Identical twin?
We're fraternal.
Fraternal.
And we were born at Beverly Hospital, Montebello. And then we actually lived in East LA, and then Monterey Park acquired our neighborhood, so we became Monterey Park.
So that's like near Brightwood over there?
It's on now it's Cesar Chavez, but it was Brooklyn.
Okay.
So it's right in front of the East LA. If we go outside my mom's house, the football field is right there. So there's a patch of homes right there that were all East LA, and then on... What side of the street is that? Next to the football field, there's another group of homes there. And then they're the Maravilla community right there. So I attended Robert Hill Lane. And so it was all those kids.
I see. Okay. Yeah. And what was it like growing up in that area?
It was a lot of fun. I mean, I was thinking back, and I think in our school, like I said, we were the minority, and I think there was a handful of us, Asian kids. And so
Japanese?
Yeah, mostly Japanese. I think there was maybe at that time, there wasn't the influx of Chinese Americans that came, Chinese that came, but I think there was maybe 2 or 3. And the rest of us were all Japanese Americans. And it was, I actually thought, me and my sister thought we were Mexican.
Okay, tell me how that comes about.
Because I guess we would come home and talk about things, and my parents would say, you're Japanese, right? And we're like, no, we're Mexican. And I didn't really think I was Japanese until maybe the 2nd grade. And I think as you get older, there's a more understanding that the kids are more understanding there's different races, And I was watching this, I can't remember his name, but he was talking about that song, Chino, Japonés.
Yeah.
Kaka ino mi desu.
Yeah.
Right? And so we would sing it, and I remember I came home, and I think we were just singing it, and my dad goes, wait a minute, what did you say? And we said it, and he's like, no, that's not a nice song. And he's like, who says that? And I go, kids at school. And my dad was like, the next time someone tells you that, you tell them that is not nice. So then the next time someone told me, I said, that's not very nice. And I remember it was a boy. I don't want to say his name. And he said, well, it's true, isn't it? You're Japonés. And I was like, okay. I didn't really understand what that meant. And then when we were maybe like 1st, 2nd grade, and that's when all my girlfriends, they were doing their first communion. So they were coming to school, and they were showing their pictures, and it was like a dark gray background, and they were sitting, and they had a white outfit, dress, and the hat and everything, and they had the candle. And they were like, when are you having yours? When is your first communion? And I said, I don't know. I think it's coming up soon, because everybody was having their first communions at the time. And I remember asking my mom, when am I going to have my first communion? And she didn't really answer me. And then do you remember? Well, like I said, we attended Robert Hill Lane, and I don't know if you remember this, but there was the Portola. Do you remember that? The Valley Kids. Do you know about that?
No.
So there was a program where they bussed out all the kids from our school, and they went to the Valley, and the Valley kids came to our school.
Oh, okay.
So in about 3rd grade, I want to say, one day we show up, and there's all these white kids at school.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was really weird. Like, where are these kids coming from? And we went to school with them, and it's interesting. Like, even back then, being a little kid, there was a racial divide for sure. I mean, that was going on, and being Asian or Japanese there, you're like, where do I fit in,
Yeah.
And then those kids, they would do the slanty eyes and make fun of you. And so.
The kids that were being bussed in.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And so my parents, I want to say we were in the 4th or 5th grade, they transferred us to Macy. And we lived, because technically, we were in Monterey Park, but we didn't live in the boundaries of Monterey Park of Macy. So we had to borrow my dad's sister's address. And so I remember they're like, don't say anything to anybody. You can't tell anybody that, where you live. Just memorize the address. I'm like, okay. So you're all stressed out, So we started school there. I remember this. We got dropped off and, you're just doing your thing. And there was the first lunch, the first break, like the recess. And are you familiar with Macy?
Is that by Elder?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a playground, basketball courts, and there's these concrete steps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So I remember coming out for the first break, and I didn't see my sister. I was trying to find her because, back then there's no cell phones you could call. Hey, where are you? And I look on the steps, and there's all these Asian kids. And that's the first time I saw like an SJ. You're talking about SJs? Alive in their habitat, natural habitat. And I thought, oh my God. So I didn't know where to go. I didn't know anybody, and I was very intimidated. So there was these lunch benches in the front, towards the front, and I sat there. And I sat there by myself, probably for quite a while.
For those who don't know, SJ is, what is an SJ?
SJ is a term that we used to say back in probably in the 80s, and it means super Jap, right? And it was, I don't even know how to explain that. It's just a culture or the way the people dressed or their car,
But you were. It sounds like you were embraced with the Latino friends and culture.
Yeah.
And you said you thought you were Mexican.
Yeah.
So.
And it was actually hard for me I couldn't really relate. It was hard for me to relate to people.
You spoke a different way? Or?
Yeah. I mean, even now, people always tell me you have an accent.
And you're probably holding it back now.
I'm holding it back right now because I'm trying to be proper. But when I'm with my Mexican friends, you probably close your eyes and you probably think I'm one of the girls, But yeah, so it was for me. I felt like a outsider for sure, and I didn't because then little by little I started integrating in. Me and my sister started integrating in with the SJs, and they didn't have the same experience as we did. And, they were all going to Plymouth Church and they were talking about Inochi. Do you know what Inochi is? Inochi was like a part of Plymouth Church had like a I guess it was after church, they would have a singing group and they would get together and sing. And I didn't know what that was. I didn't have the same experiences as they did. So I really felt like an outsider, Did
they treat you like that?
I remember right away, there was rumors about us that people started. And someone would tell me, oh, I heard this and that. And no, that didn't happen. Or that, I'm just here eating my lunch. I don't know anything about this and that. And I guess because we were different. And then plus we're twins,
Was your sister also the same?
Meaning what?
Culture, like dress?
Yes.
The way she spoke?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Did you have like the bangs with like the really high hair?
Yeah, absolutely. I have this brush. And, it's funny. I can do that. It's like muscle memory. I could still do that hairdo now.
It might come back, right?
Yeah, the 80s are coming back. I saw this video of these girls in the stores, and they're wearing there was a Cavarici. Remember Cavarici pants?
Yeah.
The baggy pants those are coming back. And I said, oh my gosh. But yeah, it's muscle memory. You can tease it. I had a comb too. I had a special comb, and it was pink, and it had these spikes on it, and it was just for teasing your hair. Yeah.
So was it difficult for you at Macy, or like how was that time for you?
Like I always just kind of never really 100% fit in. I was a lot different than the other kids. They're SJs there, I guess you want to say.
Mm. Yeah. Oh, okay. And then where do you go from there?
Then we went to Schurr, and then Schurr was just a whole nother ball game. You're like in high school now, and there's all these schools integrating.
Wait, did you change at all? Were you still like felt like you were part of the Latino culture?
Yeah, I did. But my mom and dad, they put us in basketball. They started putting us in there trying to you're Asian, Japanese. Yeah, and so we started playing basketball, and then then we got more friends, and we started doing the SJ thing, I guess you want to say, what all the other Japanese families were doing at the time in the 80s.
Oh, okay. Okay. And so what was Schurr like for you? Did you then sort of transition into more culturally Japanese American?
I guess yes and no, where, at that time in the 80s, I want to say Schurr was really balanced. There was probably 50% Hispanic Mexican kids, and then the other 50% were Asians. It was a really good balance. So I really felt at home, at Schurr.
And did you embrace both friend groups there?
Yeah, we all kind of hung out together. Yeah, it was really nice.
When we talked over Zoom, you mentioned that your dad had this interesting connection with the community. Can you talk about that?
My dad was very interesting. He passed away a few years ago, and he was an interesting guy. I mean, we had the service, and we told everybody, we had 4 or 5 speakers, and we told everybody, 2 minutes, and I think everybody spoke over half an hour. Whoa. So his funeral was really long. It was like over 3 hours.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
But it was very engaging because everybody had a lot to say about him.
Stuff that you didn't know?
I knew a lot of it, but it was nice to hear that he touched a lot of people's lives, So my parents were, if I could go back, my parents were interned, during World War II. My dad was in rural Arkansas, and my mom was born in Tule Lake. And so they said, my mom's family was from up north, and my dad's parents actually owned a lot of property in Miracle Mile. So they lost all those properties. So like my grandma owned a hotel, a restaurant, I think like a few businesses, and they lost everything. So they had to, when they came out of the internment camps, nobody would hire them, and there was a lot of prejudice. So they all moved to Boyle Heights. So there's a very large Japanese community in Boyle Heights.
Yes.
And so my dad and mom, they grew up in Boyle Heights, and a lot of their friends are Mexican too. So my dad was in one of probably the first, they called it car clubs, but they were gangs. They were straight out gangs.
Okay.
And so my dad was in the Koshakus. And so growing up in our household, we had doo-wop playing, and my dad would talk about all these old stories, amazing stories. And I really wish I would have recorded him like this and documented it, because he had some of the craziest experiences. And for those people that were able to hear these stories, we're lucky to hear it. But
how did he dress, and what car did he have?
Back in the day, my mom said that he had like this, like Elvis Pompadour. It was this big pompadour, and she said he used to drive like a lime green Ford truck. And I guess for a while he lived in West LA for a little while, and my mom was in East LA. So he saw her at the story goes, she was at this place, and he saw her. So he would come down from West LA to East LA every day and pick her up from school. She went to Roosevelt.
It sounds like a greaser, or maybe like rockabilly style.
I guess so. You know that movie Elvis that they just did, Elvis, recently with Austin Butler? Mm-mm. And we took my parents to see it, and my mom said, your dad used to dress just like that, like really loud clothes. And so I guess my parents were telling me that when they were growing up in Boyle Heights, Monterey Park was the nice area. It was like the Beverly Hills. And it was a dream of theirs to live in Monterey Park. So when they bought that house in East LA, it was really close to, you could throw a rock and you're in Monterey Park. And so when Monterey Park acquired it and changed everything, they were so thrilled, because they're like, oh my God, we made it, Yeah. We made it to Monterey Park. And that was their goal, and they were so happy about it. Yeah, just amazing. I don't know, a lot of people know about that there was that one pocket that was East LA for a little bit.
Yeah, I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
It sounds like your dad is not the conventional, like, Japanese American. Like, he's sort of like a little bit more out there and loud, right? And
he was very very loud, my dad.
In a good way, I say that.
Yeah, in a good way, not obnoxious way or offending way, but yeah, he was really funny. And he had a really hard life, my dad, And so he got married to my mom. He opened up, he had I think both my parents have, I think my mom only has maybe like a sophomore education, and my dad maybe had like an 8th grade education. And so they got married and had us, and my mom was trying to get a business. My mom was a hustler, she's always trying to sell, and that's probably where I get it from. And my dad was always really good with people. So they went to some show, and they found this carpet cleaning business, and that's how my mom and dad got started. And so a lot of people, we live off of Brooklyn, which is Cesar Chavez. My dad had this orange van, and it had Masuda carpet cleaners, and it was a cartoon. And it was parked out there for years. And so a lot of people remember that van. I remember that van, like driving by and seeing it. And that was our little life in Monterey Park. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
You don't come off as the like really subdued and like, quiet Japanese, typical Japanese. Like, it sounds like your parents maybe instilled that in you, like not to be that version of what people expect.
I think you're right. My mom and dad would always say, you need to speak up. I think because in their generation after the war, they were always told to be quiet. Gama, like suck it in, suck it up. And when something would happen, they would say, you need to stand up for yourself and speak up. And that's where I learned it from,
Yeah, such
Definitely.
a valuable lesson.
Yeah. And I remember when I was younger, and me and my sister, we were little, and this would happen a lot. We would get stopped a lot because we were twins. And we would be somewhere and...
By police?
No, we would just be walking the mall or Gemco or whatever, Fedco back. Remember those stores back? They don't have them anymore. And people would stop us and say, oh my God, are these twins? And my mom would say yes. And then she'd say, okay, Mary, come over. You got to come look at this. And so me and my sister are standing there. Look at, they're twins. And they said, we didn't think there was such a thing, that you Orientals could have twins.
Oh my gosh.
And my mom would say, we're not dogs. And I remember my mom would speak up a lot. She would always stand up for herself. So.
Oh, she modeled that for you then.
Yeah, she definitely did. But she'd always say, hey, and my dad too, hey, don't take that. Because again, it was from the war. They were in that, people were always telling them, Gama, just eat it up. Yeah, suck it up. Don't make a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So now we get that thread of like where you get that from. Right? After Schurr High School, where does your story go from there?
So after I left Schurr High School, I really didn't, a lot of my friends, went to college, right? And they were going to UCLA, USC, Berkeley, Stanford, the typical Asian, right? The path that your parents they should be proud of you, right? To go to college. But I didn't know what I was going to do. And I don't want to tell my kids this, but I got like the worst grades in high school. So I went to Pasadena City College. And I was just taking my general eds there. And I didn't know what I wanted to do. I really didn't. And one day my dad said, I think I was going there for like 2 years. And he goes, what is your plan? And I said, I really don't know. And he said, well, you need to like get it together at this point. So I thought, oh my God, what am I going to do? And I really didn't, I didn't like studying. I guess I'm impatient and I want everything like right now, and so if I'm sitting in class, I get antsy. I'd rather be outside, and I guess conventional learning didn't really work for me. It wasn't my kind of thing. So I was just going to Pasadena City College. And
it doesn't work for a lot of kids, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, because, at the time, I think things are different now. There's a lot of more options. But back when we grew up, it was like you go to high school and you go to college, right? And that was it. And I was just kind of a little different. But I've always been a little different, right? Like, so I'm kind of used to it.
Sure.
And so I was just doing my thing, and I was going to talk about my item of significance. So, that's why. Okay, so you told me to bring an item of significance, and this is it. So
can you show this camera, please?
This one? Okay.
No, this one here.
This one. Okay, so I brought my princess. So in 1992, I was part of the Nisei Week court. And 1992. Okay. So this is I have it in my office, and I look at it all the time, and I have it. And this by being involved with Nisei Week really changed my life in so many good ways, in a positive way.
Wow.
So growing up, let me go back. I'm going to go back to growing up, in Monterey Park. And do you remember the Ralph Shimpo paper? I think it's still around. I think the circulation is down like all the circulations, but in our house, it was. My parents would get it and we'd read it, and I'd read the articles and see all the advertisements or whatever. And so every year, being a little girl, I saw the Nisei Week court. Do you remember that?
Yep.
The pictures came out, and you can read the stories on everybody, and you saw the Toyo Miyataka picture. So growing up, we looked forward to seeing that the announcement every summer. And so fast forward to 1991. one of my boyfriend I was dating at the time, one of his friends, she said, hey, they're having like not a tryout, but I guess a tryout to be part of Nisei Week. And I was like, no, I'm not really, I guess ready, because I was going to nothing wrong with passing this into college. It was just that, most of those girls, when you read their biographies, are going to USC, UCLA, they're UC Irvine and so on. And so I told my parents, hey, I got an opportunity to go interview for Nisei Week. And my dad said, I don't think you're ready right now. You're not ready right now. I think you should wait till you transfer and get your stuff together and do it a little later. And I'm very stubborn. And I said, no, I'm going to do it right now. And so I got really lucky. I'm going to tell you why. So this was a newer organization, because they have this East San Gabriel Valley, Gardena Valley, West LA. These organizations have been with Nisei Week for years. And so the organization I was with, they had only been in, they had only had, I think they were in 2 or 3 years. So they weren't all that experienced, which worked in my favor. Okay. So they said, okay, show up on this day at this time in this building. Okay. So this building was right on the border of J-Town. Should I say what J-Town is? Japanese town? J-Town slang for Japanese town. And right on the border of J-Town and LA. And it was right across the street from Parker Center, right on the corner. So luckily for me, the riots broke out.
Oh, yeah,
Rodney King, that whole thing was on TV, playing out on TV. And then people started rioting and burning cars and everything. We're watching it. So I had to be there at like 6:00. So my dad took me and he dropped me off and he goes, okay, go upstairs. I'll wait for you. So I get there. I'm the only girl that showed up. So thank you, girls, whoever didn't show up that day. Thank you. Because I probably wouldn't have stood a chance. And so I got there and I said my whatever. They interviewed me and I got to be Miss Little Tokyo. And it was I just couldn't believe it. My mom and dad were like, what? So, and so being involved with Nisei Week, I mean, you have to, I was 20, I think I was 20 or 21 at the time. And you have to really put yourself out there. I mean, you have to really be uncomfortable. We had to learn, we had to dance. We had to learn our theme was 50s, the Fabulous 50s that year. And so we had to learn like a whole dance routine. And then we had to learn an odori routine. And then we had to say a speech for 2 minutes that we had to write and go, they had us do like a walk. We had to dress in a ball gown and then a kimono. And we had to do all that. And whatever fears you had to face your fears. And then after that, you kind of feel that you can do anything. If it wasn't for Nisei Week, I think I wouldn't be in sales. I wouldn't have gotten to sales. There's no way. I was going back to Pasadena City College. I was trying to figure out what I was going to do. Mm. And I was taking a medical transcription course.
Oh, no.
You know what that is?
Boring. It sounds boring.
Yeah, it's like where you know what? Now AI is so advanced. They probably have computers that do this work. But if when you go to the doctor, they take notes. Russell's in here today and he's got a cold, And so they put it on a tape and then somebody has to transcribe it. And that's what I was going to do.
Oh, man.
And
that doesn't seem fitting for you at all.
No, I mean, it sounded like, and yeah, my dad's friend's girlfriend was doing it and she was, you get paid so much a line, whatever. So that sounds good because then I could be out of school quick and then I could make money right away. So I did the whole Nisei Week thing. And out of that, I met, the girls that you're with, you're working together 2 years in a row, right? And you're together all the time. You travel and everything. So you become really good friends. So a couple of my friends, we got together for lunch and we were sitting there and they were talking about what they do. And they were both in outside sales. And we went to some fancy restaurant and then I think we met at some mall and they were shopping and buying all these nice clothes. We went to Nordstrom and so I think after that we had coffee or something and I said, okay, hold on a minute. How are you guys affording this lifestyle? Because they were going to go to Paris and they were going to go da-da-da here and da-da-da-da. And they said, oh, we're in outside sales. And I said, I don't know what that means. What does that mean? And they said, well, we get accounts for, we go out there and we get accounts. And I said, well, I want to do that too. I'm in. So they gave me the name of their office, and it was in like West LA. And so I went and interviewed, and they said, Michelle, we love you and everything, but you don't have a college degree. And I said, oh, he goes, everything else, if you didn't have, that's a requirement to work for this company. Because I don't want to say the company, but it's a Fortune 500 company, pretty big company. I said, oh, really? So I didn't take no for an answer. So I called the other office. There was another one in the Valley. So I interviewed there. Same thing. He said, I really like you. You have everything. You got it all, but except for your college, you need that college degree. So you need to go back to school and go get it, and then come back and I'll hire you in a minute. But remember, I didn't want to go to school because I wanted to be, I just couldn't do it. It wasn't my thing. So I called the Ontario office.
Same company.
Because they had 3. I'm telling you, I was not going to take no for an answer. So I went there and he interviewed me. He said the same thing to me. And the director of sales, his name was Phil, and he said the same thing. Everything about you're great. It's just you don't have your degree. And I said, I promise, I'm going to work really hard, and I can do it, no problem. And he's like, sorry. So I kept calling him, and one day he calls me out of the blue, and I think at the time, what was I can't remember what I was doing. And he called me, said, hi, this is Phil, and I really appreciate you keep calling me, and I'm going to give you a chance. And I said, okay. So I drove to Ontario, and I was living in Monterey Park, and I drove to Ontario, which is back then. Okay, you got to remember, this is like the 90s, early 90s. And to go to Ontario, now it's not that far. It's far, but, it's doable. But back then, that was going to Vegas, So I drove down there, and he said, okay, I'm going to give you a chance. I'm going to give you a shot. I'm going to put you in this territory. And I said, okay, where is it? He said, it starts from Redlands and it goes all the way to Palm Springs. Okay, he tells me. I said, okay, I'll do it. And he said, okay, are you sure? He said, I'm going to let you know. I have a high turnaround in that territory. I probably get 3 or 4 reps a year. They go there, they don't like it, and then they quit, and then they're out of here. I said, okay, I'll do it. So I have my little Honda Civic, and I drive to
you're living in Monterey Park.
I'm living in Monterey Park, so for me it's like a good hour, right? So this was a payroll company, and so they had to make a relationship with the banks, and then you would get referrals from CPAs and the banks. So I think my first month I would go meet with all the contacts, and they all told me the same thing: you're not going to do well here. They said, number 1, you're an outsider, you don't live around this area. And number 2, you're Asian, and we don't like your kind around here. Like, I got told that a lot.
Wow.
Yeah. But, I've always been an outsider and an underdog. So I was like, okay, I really wanted the job. So I ended up working really hard, and I ended up being the number 1 salesperson in that little area. So when it came, and there was like a book every month that came out, because it wasn't internet like now. And we would meet up every month, and they would have a luncheon, and my name would be on that board. I would be one of the top salespeople in my area. So after about a year, I went up to Phil, and I said, okay, Phil, I already proved myself that I can sell. So can you move me closer to like Diamond Bar or wherever, closer? And he goes, no, you're the only person that's lasted there, more than 3 months. So no, you're not moving.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where did you get that grit from? Where did you get that drive to be like, oh, like all these odds are stacked against me. Yeah. Everyone's telling me these things. Where does that come from that you're like, no, I can still do it?
I think it's just always from being kind of different.
To prove something to someone, or like you just know it in yourself that you can do it?
I think it's a combination of both. I think it's my environment. And then, my parents, they were entrepreneurs. And same thing, they had everything stacked against them, being, Japanese at that time when they're growing up, and then having their own business and just being around that environment. And just again, being different, I always had to work a little harder than everybody else.
Was there a time where you're like, oh, this is too hard, I want to give up? And like, how do you get through those moments if you had them?
Yeah. I mean, I still do, right? I think I've been in sales now since I was 20. You know, it's been a long time, over 30 years. And yeah, you have good days and bad days, but it's all about being, positive thinking. You got to just push through it.
You eventually made your way to live out in Chino Hills.
Yeah, we moved out. Me and my ex-husband. I met him through Nisei Week too. So if it
at that same time?
Yeah, I met him through one of the girls in Nisei Week. So yeah, that's another positive thing that happened out in Nisei Week. And now I have 3 beautiful kids from that marriage.
So you moved out to Chino Hills, but something pulled you back
to
the SGV. So can you describe that moment when you knew you had to come home and what it meant for your family?
When we got married, we rented a duplex on Garfield, right by Taihei restaurant. You could walk from Taihei to that little duplex. And so I was working at the payroll, company, and I saved up money for a down payment. So I go, we're going to buy a house. So at the time it was very affordable. So we bought a house in Chino Hills, and then I had my first son, and I was commuting because I would come back to Monterey Park. Because my friends were over there, my parents, my sister, everything was there. And so then I went back to work, and my babysitter lived in Monterey Park as well. So we were doing that. And so after a while, we're like, we got to go back to the Monterey Park, So I went from my house in Monterey Park, I want to say my house in Chino Hills was pretty big. It was probably like 2,500 square feet, 2-story, brand new. And then I had to look for another house in Monterey Park, so it was much smaller, but it was worth it. When we came back, it's like, I'm home. I'm back in Monterey Park,
Your parents put you into the Japanese American basketball leagues to try to make you a little bit more Japanese.
I think so. Yeah, that was their plan.
But have you put your kids in there, and you've been involved with the Jets organization?
Yeah, I was. My son was the first Jet in my family, and as the organization, we were part of the organization. I was more involved. I became. I was like the room mom, and then I was some kind of gym monitor person, and I ended up being more involved in the organization. And those were the best years, I want to say, for me and my family. There was probably a good block of 10 years that my kids were playing basketball, and every weekend, it was Saturday basketball practice in the morning, and then we'd go hang out with the families in the afternoon or dinner, and then Sunday we had games. And it was like probably one of the best times of my life.
Oh.
And so the Jets, I owe a lot. Yeah, I had a lot of happiness for the Jets. And so, as I mentioned, we were like a dying organization, and we were not getting new teams in. And so one day the president said, I have to step down. I forgot why. He goes, I'm not going to do it anymore. And so we were like, oh. And I was part of the parents, that would go into the meetings every month. And I went home, and I remember I was doing something, and I saw something on the news or some story, and it said, if you don't step up, who will? Right? Who's going to do it? Because you can complain and everything, because in basketball, I'm sure did you play basketball?
I did, yes.
Or your kids? Okay. So, there's a lot of just issues going on. And when you get together you sit at the table and everybody's talking, there's a lot of complaining. A lot of people do a lot of complaining. But if you're not going to step up and help, you should really complain, And so me and my friend said, hey, let's split the responsibility of being the president. You do half and I do half. And so we did that for a little while. And then I think something happened to her, and she ended up falling off. So I became the president. And so we started losing, because we weren't getting any new teams, and they were losing teams. So we had to think of ideas of how to recruit more people. And so I did it. I was going out just like a sales job, because I have my sales experience. And, again, I'm the underdog there, right? Our organization was very small. So I got out and I recruited some people. I got some South Bay teams, and they brought a whole bunch of teams. So we grew, because, it's all based on volunteering. So you need volunteers. You need parents to help, right, to run the tournament and just run the organization. And if you only have 4 teams or 3 teams, the rest of us left are doing everything. And you can't.
Yeah.
So...
Is it the Montebello Jets? Montebello,
out of
right?
Plymouth Church.
I used to practice. I used to be a Jet.
Oh,
I used
you
to
were?
practice
Okay.
at Wilson on the hill.
Oh yeah, that's one of the gyms. Yeah, I was on the Monterey Park Mustangs.
I was a Mustang too.
You Mustang too? Yeah,
Yeah.
they've been around a long time. Yeah, And so since my kids stopped playing, because my youngest son is 19 now, so he hasn't played for a while. But once they stopped playing, I was going back to help a little bit, and I help a little bit, but I'm not as involved as I used to be.
The experience of practice, hanging out as a team, going to the games on Sunday, probably having snacks together, maybe eating, that's very familiar to me. And I don't know that other sports clubs are like that. I hear a lot that they bring snacks or something, but then that's the extent of their social interaction.
Yeah.
But in the Japanese American like basketball community, that is like your whole social network, right?
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of great people that you meet and you become really good friends. And I mean, I want to say like my son's team, we were really close and we were always together. I mean, we traveled together. We do all the San Jose tournament, Vegas tournament, and we'd all stay in the same, we go to Vegas and rent rooms all near each other, and the kids would go play and the parents go gamble.
At Cal or the Main Street?
We would be at South Point.
Oh, South Point.
I think we were at Cal a couple of times and South Point and wherever we were staying.
Yeah.
And we would go and it would be a whole trip. Yeah, it was a great time.
That's right. So, I played in those. I didn't parent through those times, but I can imagine like your whole year revolves around the basketball tournament schedule.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then it's funny, like after my kids stop playing, you have all this free time. Like, oh my God, it's Saturday. I know we're basketball practice today. Yeah. So I kind of miss it. I miss it a lot. And I tell my friends that have little kids, I said, enjoy it now. Enjoy it now because they're going to grow up so fast and you're not going to have any practice and games and your whole soul, it's going to change.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Michelle, we're going to take a quick break, but
Okay.
I want to get back into like your story. And so now we sort of built the foundation for who you are, right? And your
Okay.
skills and your passion and stuff. So I want to get into more of what you're doing today, but let's take a quick break.
Okay.
Sometimes, even the best of us can slip up. That's why the law offices of Scott Wormuth are here to pick you back up again.
And while they strive to get you the biggest compensation possible, oh my gosh.
Their main concern is your health and recovery. They work closely with doctors and insurance companies to make sure you get the proper medical treatment.
Initial consultations are free, so give them a call.
At the law offices of Scott Wormuth, we're with you all the way.
I'm Scott Wormuth. We've been fighting for your rights for more than 40 years.
All right, we're back with Michelle. Before the break, we were talking about the Japanese basketball experience, right? Families and growing up. So before we go on with the show, though, when we come back from break, we like to ask questions from this deck of cards called Icebreakers. And it's just a fun way for us to get to know each other.
Okay.
So I'm going to answer too. If you could buy your dream house, what is one weird room or feature you would have?
I think I would like to have a really super decked out closet. Okay, like are you a fan of Sex and the City?
No, but I can sort of imagine.
Okay,
yeah.
So at the end of the show, oh no, it was the movie, and she has this. Her husband built her this closet, and you walk in, and she has all the purses and lights and the shoes, and that's what I would want. That's what I want. Just one room dedicated to that, and it has to have a lock on it, security lock on it.
Well, a whole room as a closet,
a
huh?
room, not a closet, a room. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Awesome. I think I've answered this on the show before. I would like internal like space that is open to the outdoors. Sort of how you see like in those like old Japanese, films where there's like a walkway, a wooden walkway, but the inside all the plants and everything,
Yes.
garden in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want in my home.
Okay.
So like everything is there's windows facing it inside, and you can like be on the outside, but
Look in.
yeah.
That's totally doable, Russell.
I hope so. I want to do that.
Yeah, that's totally doable.
Yeah. I mean, we also want to have like an outdoor cooking area that is sort of like attached to it.
Yeah.
Like it's outdoor, right? Where we want to do those. And a large tub that is also sort of like interconnected with the dining area. Yeah.
That's real popular now. If you see, it's a trend where it's like a indoor outdoor. They have the garage and
Yeah.
I saw this one house in West Covina. This is a couple years ago. I was taking somebody out, and there was a little, there was a garage, and the wife had it was a man cave, and he built this door, it would flip open, and so he had like a bar. So there's this little hose on the side, and we're trying to figure out what is it, and so we looked at it, and this hose, it was like he cut the top of a milk the milk gallon jug. He cut the top off, and that was the top, and they had a hose, and it went to a bucket. You know what that was for? so they could go pee outside.
What? Oh, because they didn't want to come in when they're drinking?
Yeah, I guess yeah.
That's funny.
The
That's
things
funny.
you see. Yeah, you see all kinds of stuff out there.
If you're listening or watching online, if you could buy your dream house, what's one weird room or feature you would have? Let us know in the comments. So, Michelle, before I forget, do you remember there was this really odd looking pink home near Brightwood? Everything about it was pink.
On the hill right there?
I don't know exactly where. It was like in that area. So probably you don't know.
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah. And I guess it was an eyesore, and the neighbors like really, didn't like that. So part of our service club in high school was to paint it.
No, okay.
Yeah. Everything in her home, everything was pink.
Okay.
Everything. Like
everything.
Everything, yes. And I don't know that us high school kids made it look any better.
You probably did a good job.
I don't know. But I was like, wow, this is really interesting. There's something going on in this person's mind that everything has to be pink.
Well, do you remember the Iwata's house on the top?
Mm-mm.
If you go, on the Brightwood Hill on the very top, it's a 3-story house.
Okay.
It's okay. So Dr. Iwata owns it, and one of my mom's good friends knew them. So every year they would let us go swimming at that house.
Okay.
And the swimming pool, usually swimming pools are in the backyard. Well, this swimming pool was in the front yard because the backyard was a hill that went down.
Oh, yes.
And so, so every year she would let us, we'd open the gate and just go swimming with my mom's friends' kids. And so a few times I had to go to the bathroom, right? So she would let us in. So the daughter would let us in. So I went in, and that whole house was blue, like a powder blue. The couches, and it looked like a palace in there. Everything was like silver.
Wow.
And fancy chandeliers, and it was really cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, sounds
really
cool. Well, Michelle, it's clear now where you got your drive and your skills from. Like you sort of are honing this and knowing who you are throughout this journey, getting onto Nisei Week, and then landing this job through just, pure determination.
Mm-hmm.
And then how do you step into what you're doing now? What's the story there?
Yeah, so it was kind of by accident. And I was, I think people always told me to get into it, but I kind of thought, they're so car salesman-y. I'm not going to do that. And I worked for a lot of Fortune 500 companies, over the years. And so when I got in my 40s, I started getting tired. I don't know have you had an outside sales job before?
No.
I mean, it's a pretty, it's really physical because you have to knock on doors. You have to go to businesses and knock on doors and go in there and you're walking all day. And I guess one day, it was in my 40s, I said, I want to do an inside sales job where I can sit in. So there was an ad in the newspaper for a recruiter in South Pasadena or San Marino. It was San Marino at the time. So I just walked in there because I'm a salesperson. I'm usually just going to businesses. And I go, I'm here for the ad in the paper. So the boss came out and I said, okay, well, tell me about this job. And he goes, okay, well, I'm a real estate office, a broker, and how we make money is, because they get a little cut every time someone sells a house. And so I need someone that's going to recruit these realtors that are producing realtors so I can make more money. I said, okay, I could do that. Call realtor salespeople all day. That's fine. So he goes, well, I have somebody here now, and this person is not kind of working out 100%, so I'll let you know. So same thing. I called that guy because I didn't want to be in the hot sun this summer. And I didn't want to be in the hot sun anymore. So I kept calling him every 3 weeks or something. So finally he's like, okay, you can work here. So I started working in the office, and I was like the recruiter. I would call real estate agents all day, talk to them. And then because I was selling, the product was real estate and what they do, I would sit in all the trainings. So the broker there was an excellent trainer. And I would sit there and I just sit there and listen. I go, this is a sales job. I don't think people realize how much of a sales job real estate is. And I said, wow, this is just like the companies I worked for, the same training that I was getting at these Fortune 500 companies. And I said, wow, it's the same thing. I think I could do it. So then at the time they opened up a real estate school. So I was recruiting for that as well. And so one day I go, I'm going to take this test. So I went home and I took the test, and I didn't tell anybody because in case I failed, I think I don't know if you know this, it's a 30% pass rate.
Oh, that's quite
low.
It's
a very low pass rate. So in case I failed, because since I had the school and I was running the school, I would see people go through our school and they would not pass. So I didn't want to be embarrassed. So I didn't tell anybody. So I took my tests online and I submitted it and I took my test. And then I passed. So I came to work and I'm like, oh, I passed. And then my broker was like, oh no, you're going to get the itch. He goes, I'm going to lose you because you're going to get the itch. You're not going to want to do this anymore. You're going to want to sell real estate. I'm like, no. And I think my first year I think I had a lease and I sold one house that he referred me somebody. And then from little by little, I built my business from there. But if you look back on all the experiences that I've had, just growing up in East LA, having the challenges I had, being the underdog all the time, and then my sales career, and then being part of the Jets and being just helping people, it all kind of comes together. And so I think that's why I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because it's not, I know they glamorize it on these shows, but the showing the houses, because, I, along with, I'm a mentor too to new people and they call me all the time. And so I always ask them when I sit down with them, why do you want to get into real estate? And they say, oh, because I watch HGTV and I like design. And I go, that has nothing to do with what you're going to be doing. That's like 10% of what you're going to be doing. And you really need to have hard conversations with people every day. And can you do that? Oh, sure I can. And I said, and also every decision you help your clients make has a legal consequence to it. It's a big responsibility and there's a lot at stake. So it's very emotional for people. So you have to be able to handle all that. And so yeah, it's a lot harder than I thought, but I think about it and yeah, I think everything that's happened to my life kind of brought me here.
You definitely have a lot of grit and you have a lot of fearlessness to enter things that are difficult and hard and to stick with it.
See my ring? I wore it today. It says, I can't see because I'm an old lady. It says fearless.
Yeah.
And I wear it and I look at it to remind me.
I mean, that's definitely you. I mean, that's a thread that's apparent in this story, right? Like some of those experiences, I could not go door to door. I cannot go to one door and be like, okay, that's just not my thing, right? Like I can have conversations like this, but a stranger slamming their door in my face is not something that I can handle. But over and over again.
Yeah, but if you think about it, because I did the Nisei week and I was able to put myself out there, and then plus because, all the I don't know if you want to call it bullying or whatever, getting like I have a resilience. It built resilience in me. So when I do that, I mean, of course it hurts my feelings, but I don't go home and cry. I'll just move on to the next. You just go the next, and someone's gonna say yes.
Because you're gonna keep calling them every day.
Calling. Yeah, I'll keep calling. Yeah, I'll keep calling until that's a sales job.
Yeah. Your dad ran a carpet cleaning business. Your mom hustled jewelry. Mm-hmm. What's a moment in your adult life that reminded you of who they were and how they shaped you?
I think watching my parents run their businesses, I really learned early that business is a people business. It's about people. It's not about a product. It's not about, so you have to build those relationships. So you have to really like people. And I really love people. I think people are so interesting. I like to learn about their stories and just growing up, I would go with my parents, like my dad, like this would happen. My dad would take me and my sister to a carpet cleaning job and we'd sit in the van with him. And he would go talk to his customers. And they would talk about vacation and how's your kids and blah, blah, blah. And then he would work and leave. And then he'd drop us home and my mom would take her she would go sell jewelry. And she would talk to those people. How are you doing? How's your kids? Or whatever. And it's more the relationship building. I think I learned that a lot from my parents.
What's something no one tells you about selling an inherited home in a tight-knit community like the SGV?
This has been kind of my niche, I think, because I'm getting older and a lot of my friends are getting older and their parents are getting older. So they're going into retirement homes, or maybe one of the parents passed away or both parents passed away. And so a lot of people don't know about the taxes. Do you know about the taxes, how that works?
No, you can share with us.
Okay, yeah, it's this actually happened to me. So like you hear things, but when it happens to you, it really because it happens to you. And so yeah, when somebody passes away, you inherit a home. Most people go, okay, well, mom or dad died. We have this empty home. We're gonna just have cousin Fred live here in this house, or one of my kids live here, right? And they lived there for a long time. And so what happens is once they sell that house, let's say 5 years, 10 years go by. And then they go, oh, now we're going to sell it because maybe Uncle Fred got married or whatever. So now we're going to sell it. So then they call me, someone like me. And so we find out that, did you report it to the county that your parents had died 10 years ago? No, we didn't. We just let Uncle Fred, whoever lived there. Okay, well, now you're going to owe, because you didn't report it, now you're going to owe they prorate. The county, you're supposed to report it. And most people think because a death certificate has been issued, that it triggers like all these other organizations, right, in the county, and they talk, but they don't. The left hand doesn't talk to the right hand. So it's your responsibility when you inherit a home, you have to report it to the county right away, and it's going to trigger a reassessment in your taxes. Because if you don't, when you sell it, you're going to have a huge tax bill, huge.
Oh.
Huge, yeah.
Michelle, you've been a school mom, a basketball president, and a real estate guide. What's the toughest role you've ever taken on, and why?
God, they're all hard. All tough. I think probably that being a room mom was easy because there's other moms there, you know. But I think the toughest is probably being part of the basketball organization and like real estate. And I think because in basketball, it's so crazy. It just happened. This just happened to me. People get so competitive. And
parents,
yeah, and this just happened to me. I was sitting at the Tigers, you know, they have a bingo at Nishi, and I was sitting there playing bingo, and there was these two parents behind me talking, and they're like, "Oh, how'd you do this?" Because it was like Sunday night, it was already the end of the tournament. "Oh, how'd you do?" "Oh, yeah, we did awesome. Like we won 3 games, and we just got this girl Allison, and she's awesome." And you know, they're talking about the game, whatever. And so the guy goes, "Okay, what division are you guys in again?" And he said 8-year-old. And I thought they were talking about high school because that's how detailed and competitive he was talking. And I thought 8 years old, and it just brought me back to having those meetings, you know, because I was the president and the board, and these things would happen all the time. You know, parents are fighting and they're trying to stack teams and recruiting other people, and it's difficult to have those hard conversations with parents. You have to kind of let's go back to the reason why we have this organization, right? Because the reason we have this basketball league is because we were a lot smaller than everybody else. So we formed these leagues, and the spirit is, right, to have fun and a community. This is a spirit of these Asian leagues, and that's not what's happening here. And people are so like in the zone with their, you know. And these kids are 5 and they can't even write their name. I mean, how can you expect them to, you know, be these NBA basketball players, you know, at 5 years old? And so I think that's really tough, you know.
Sure.
And then in real estate, the same thing. You have to have a lot of tough, like I was saying, you have to have a lot of tough conversation with people because there's just so much at stake. And so over the years, I guess you just learn to, like they actually have classes, you know, for realtors. And you would think that most of the trainings that they give us are on contracts and law. All these classes they provide training is, you know, like that, how to talk to people, how to explain that your house is not worth $5 million, worth $800,000, you know, having these tough conversations all the time. So, yeah.
Are you able to have those conversations in your own life, like with family and close friends?
Like having with
difficult conversations.
Yeah, I have difficult. Yeah, I can actually. Yeah, I have no problem having different because I do it all the time. I have difficult conversation, I would say, every day with my clients. It was funny you say that because I had lunch with my girlfriends. We're all realtors, and I guess she met this guy online or whatever, and he came from out of town and to meet her, and they were supposed to spend the whole weekend. So I guess the first night she already knew, like because they had been talking, but they didn't meet in person. So I guess he flew in, and they spent the first day together, and by the second day, she wasn't liking him. So they meet up. I think he's staying at that hotel right there on the corner in Monterey Park. So she meets him and she says, "John, I'm sorry, but this is not working out." And so we started laughing, you know, and we said, "How do you take it?" She goes, "I don't know." She goes, "I have hard conversations every day. This was easy, no problem." And it's true, you know, it's true.
Michelle, one more question before we go on to the SGV3. If there's something, a skill, some knowledge that you can impart to your children,
yes,
what would that be?
They're so young right now, and the whole world is your oyster. Like, I wish I would have. It's like everything, if you knew what you knew then, what you know now, what you knew then, right? You would do everything different. And so I always tell them, you guys are so young. You have the whole world in front of you. Do what you want to do. Do it. If you want to, you could be anything you want to be. And especially now, growing up in this day and age, they have so much more resources than we did. They want something, they just put in the computer and all the information's there. There's no excuse for not knowing, getting information, good information. So I always tell them, your whole life is ahead of you. Just go for it. Whatever you want, you got to do it. And I guess since we're like in the third quarter of life, you think about that. The only thing that's stopping you is you, Yeah. That's what I would say.
Thank you. Michelle, we're going to move on to the final segment of the show where we get to learn about where you like to eat in the San Gabriel Valley.
Okay.
So hang on. So Michelle, this is the SGV3, and we want to know your 3 favorite places to eat around the SGV.
This is really hard because there's so many good places. SGV is known for the food, right?
Yeah.
You know that? And someone did tell me that if you start at Monterey Park and go all the way to the SGV, if you had breakfast, lunch, and dinner, it would take you 10 years. Did you know that?
Like to try every restaurant?
Yeah, that's how many restaurants there are in the SGV. So to answer your question, I think my favorite, the 3 I think of as probably number 1 is Ducks. Have you been to Ducks?
Yes. Oh yeah, I've been to Ducks.
Okay, it's really good. The oyakudon. I like oyakudon, the chicken. It's like real crispy because I'm like a karaage snob. And if the karaage is not too par, but it's good. They're karaage. And I heard that, I don't know if this is true. I've heard that the owners used to work at Curry House. Did you hear that?
I don't know, but they were on our show.
Were they really?
Natsumi was here, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
But I don't remember hearing that though.
No?
I don't remember hearing that.
Okay, so I heard that. My friend told me that.
Their tempura is really good too.
Their tempura is good. Anything, yeah.
All their fried stuff is crispy and hot and delicious.
It's perfectly crispy. Yeah, I have heard that. So we tried it and it's really good.
Oh, another tip about that is if the spicy curry is not spicy if you like spice.
Okay.
But you can ask one of the workers there. It's one of the servers, the male server, and he has his own special hot sauce that is applicable for Asian flavors.
Okay.
Really hot, really good.
Okay. I say my second would be Bellini's. Do you know Bellini's, or it's Estrella something now? It's on Garfield.
No.
You know, you never ate there?
No.
From Monterey, you never ate there? Oh my gosh. Really?
I don't know what that is. No.
No, you don't? Okay, so
where is it? Where is it?
It's, you know where the old Shaka's is?
Yep.
Okay, so it's across the street. There's Dollar Tree. It used to be Food City, but now it's Dollar Tree.
Okay. It's
right there it's on what is that? Riggin and Garfield.
Yeah.
Between the Pomona Freeway. Oh my gosh, you gotta go there. Okay, so he's a Schurr High School graduate. He's in my class, Chris Bellini, and he was like the only Italian kid growing up in Montebello. He's probably really interesting for you to interview. But anyways, so he was just driving a truck. When I saw him one day driving a truck. And then I guess, because he's Italian, his heritage, he went to Italy and he lived there. And I guess he came back. He worked, I think the family, I don't know if that was their business, but he came back and he opened, it's a very specific, I guess the way they cook the pizza. It's the fire roasted pizza.
Yeah.
And it's really good. And he was telling me that Jeannie Buss, the owner of the Lakers, she stops in just to eat there. And then she goes to the Staples Center. And I guess she told him, hey, open a Bellini, a restaurant in the Staples Center. But he said, I looked into it and it was just too much work. You'd have to be there all the time. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's really good. They're really good Italian food. The pasta and the pizzas.
Italian and pasta is probably the food that I eat the least of.
Oh, maybe that's why.
Yeah. So I would never go to explore, but it sounds very interesting. Just the story of it, and because it's in that area. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to try it. And then they bring this bread. It's like a bread, and they put pesto on it, as an appetizer.
Complimentary.
So yeah,
with pesto. Yeah. Wow, that's nice.
Yeah, they put it on the table, and it's like it's gone, and as soon as it's down, all the hands go in, and it's gone. So it's really good. I think my third favorite is Bachan's across the street, and they're also Schurr graduates. There was a Schurr graduate. Yeah.
Bachans.
Bachans, yeah. They used to be in the old chakas. And the owner, Shannon, he went to school. He was going to be like a hotel manager. He went through a hotel management program. And I guess part of that, you have to go, there's a cooking class. And I guess he really liked cooking. So he ended up quitting college and he ended up doing, I think he went to culinary school, and then they were living in Maui. And then when they were in Maui, what are those? They own that team, the Sacramento Kings, the Maloof brothers. Mm-hmm. They came and ate at his restaurant. So they recruited him to work in Vegas. So he was there. Oh. They were there living, and then they opened when they came back to Monterey Park. See, they came back to Monterey Park too.
Wow.
They're Monterey Parkers, yeah. So they came back and brought their family here. And they've been here, and they've been open there a couple of years now. Maybe a year now. So you got to try it.
Wow.
It's really good. Yeah.
I haven't been down to the area where Shaka's. Is Shaka's still there?
No. Oh. Yeah, they closed, and so now Bachans is there.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I remember when they first opened.
Mm-hmm.
That was long, and there was like a comic book store close by or something.
There was a lawnmower store there, and yeah.
Wow. Thanks for bringing that memory up, and then for sharing your SGV3. Michelle, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your story with us. If people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way to do that?
I guess so through social media. I think you're going to post it on my...
What's your social media?
It's on my Instagram. I'm Michelle, and there's an underscore Shimohara. Mm-hmm. And then on my Facebook, it's Michelle Shimohara. And I have a TikTok as well. Same thing, Michelle Shimohara.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your story. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Well, there was another episode in the books for you. I really enjoyed that story. I always love to understand how a person becomes who they are. What are the drivers? What are the stories in their life that you can see the thread of like, okay, that makes sense of what they're doing now, whether it's a business or in real estate. And in this story, you just hear someone with like just so much determination, so much grit, an willingness to just keep going. And, I think that is probably the most important component in success beyond luck, beyond, just choosing a right field is having that grit and that willingness to stick to it. So I hope you got something from this episode. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe. Don't forget to like and share. And if you want to see the full catalog of episodes, check out our website on mysgv.net. Don't forget, you can get the MySGV Food Passport. Check that out, mysgvfoodpassport.com. And until next week, we'll see you then. Thank you for joining us on the MySGV podcast. Check out more of our content on our website, mysgv.net. This show was produced by Scott Wormuth, directed by Russell Mano, edited by Victoria Allers, and original music by Yone OG. If you'd like to join us next week as we capture and share more stories from our diverse community, feel welcome.
Nice mother. No, kind of mother.